She said it was just a study session, so I showed up and caught her half naked in his bedroom. Then I sent the video to her entire religious family. I'm a 26-year-old guy, and I've been dating my girlfriend, Marilyn, 24, for about a year and a half now. We've been living together for the past 6 months, and for the most part, things have gone pretty smoothly. But lately, something's been eating at me, and I honestly can't tell if I'm being overly suspicious or if there's actually something off. Marilyn works as a junior analyst at a consulting firm. About 2 months ago, she started bringing up this coworker named Evan. He's 28 and apparently went through the same grad program she did, just a few years earlier. According to her, he's been super helpful explaining some of the tougher client projects and even offered to help her prep for a certification exam she's taking soon. That exam could lead to a promotion, so at first, I was genuinely glad. She's been busting her tail at work, and she deserves the recognition. But here's where things get weird. Their study sessions always take place at Evan's apartment. They usually kick off around 7 or 8 at night, and Marilyn doesn't get home until somewhere between 1 and 3 in the morning. When I asked why they couldn't study at our place or even at the office, she said Evan's place is quieter and he has all the study materials there, so it's just easier. Still, there are a few things that have started to seriously bother me. First off, Marilyn either shuts her phone off or just doesn't respond to my messages while she's at these sessions. She says they're super focused and that's why she's not checking her phone, but normally she's quick to reply even when she's busy. Second, every time she comes home from these sessions, she smells like she's been drinking. When I've asked about it, she tells me Evan sometimes pours her a glass of wine to help her relax while they're studying. The thing is, Marilyn's never really been much of a drinker, so this doesn't sit right with me. Third, these sessions are happening 2 or 3 times a week, and this has been going on for about 6 weeks now. Fourth, I once offered to bring them dinner since they were going so late into the night, and Marilyn got oddly defensive. She told me that showing up would be distracting and made it seem like a bad idea. And lastly, when I've tried to explain that the whole situation makes me uncomfortable, Marilyn flips it around and says I'm just being insecure and don't trust her. That stings because it's not about control. I trust her as much as I can, but this situation just doesn't feel normal. What really gets to me is that Marilyn has plenty of other co-workers she could study with, including a few women in her department who are also studying for the same exam. But when I brought that up, she brushed it off, saying Evan's the only one who's already passed and actually understands the material well enough to help. Last night is what pushed me over the edge. She left around 7 for another study session. I texted her at 10 to check when she'd be home. No reply. I tried calling around 11:30, straight to voicemail. She didn't walk through the door until almost 3 in the morning, and it was obvious she'd been drinking. When I told her I was seriously worried, she snapped and accused me of being controlling and overbearing. This morning, I told her flat out that I'm not okay with her spending so many late nights at Evan's apartment, especially if she's drinking and unreachable. I asked if there's any way we could come up with a different arrangement, study somewhere else, meet during the day, literally anything. She absolutely lost it. Said I was trying to sabotage her success, that I didn't believe in her, and that I'm jealous of Evan. Now she's giving me the cold shoulder and texted her sister, saying I'm being toxic and controlling. Her sister even called me an asshole and told me I either need to trust Marilyn or break up with her. To be totally clear, I'm not trying to control who she talks to or hold her back at work. But I don't think I'm being unreasonable by saying that coming home in the middle of the night, smelling like wine, after hours alone with a male coworker while ignoring her phone isn't okay. I just want better communication and maybe a more professional study setup. That's not too much to ask, right? Edit, appreciate all the feedback so far. A lot of people asked for extra context. Marilyn and I usually have a strong relationship, and this is honestly the first major problem we've run into. I've never been the jealous or controlling type. The exam is still 3 months away, and despite how often she mentions Evan, I've never even met the guy. When I said I'd like to be introduced sometime, Marilyn told me it would be awkward to mix her work life with her personal life. Marilyn brings up Evan a lot in conversation, but things get awkward fast if I start asking for specifics, like what exactly they're studying or what they talk about during those long nights. She usually just brushes it off with a vague work stuff and changes the topic. Comment 7 YTA, you're being controlling and insecure. Marilyn's a grown woman who can make her own choices when it comes to her career and who she spends time with. If you don't trust her, you shouldn't be in a relationship. Honestly, this post reeks of toxic masculinity. My reply, I get where you're coming from, but I have to disagree. I do trust Marilyn in general, which is what makes this whole thing so confusing and hard to process. I'm not trying to control her friendships or hold her back professionally. I just think there's a difference between being supportive and being a doormat, and it's fair to set some boundaries around late-night, wine-fueled hangouts with a male coworker. Update: after reading through everyone's comments, I decided to sit down and try to have a calm, honest conversation with Marilyn. I waited until she seemed relaxed yesterday evening and approached the subject gently. I told her I'd been thinking a lot about our recent fight and that I wanted to hear her side more clearly. At first, she seemed open to talking. I asked her to explain why these sessions had to be at Evan's place specifically, why not during the day or somewhere neutral. Her answer was basically what I'd heard before: Evan keeps all the study materials at his apartment, it's quieter there, and they both concentrate better at night. Then I asked about the drinking, and she admitted that they usually split a bottle of wine while studying. She swore it helped her focus and retain more information. That caught me off guard. I told her that part made it feel more like a social hangout than a study session, and that's when her guard shot back up. She said I was reading into things too much. Things really took a turn when I asked if I could meet Evan sometime. Her answer was immediate and firm. She said it wouldn't be appropriate or professional to introduce her boyfriend to someone she works with like that. I reminded her she's introduced me to other co-workers at events before, but she told me Evan was different, that he's more of a mentor, and mixing personal life with that relationship would just complicate things. I stayed calm and asked if we could meet halfway on this, maybe they could study here at our place sometimes, or at least let me pick her up afterwards so she's not driving after drinking. She shot that down, saying I was trying to micromanage her and hold her back. She accused me of not wanting her to succeed and letting my insecurity get in the way of her career. The conversation ended with her saying that if I can't trust her, maybe we're not right for each other. She insisted Evan is just helping her professionally and that she won't let my doubts sabotage her progress. But here's where things got interesting. This morning, Marilyn left early for work. A little later, I ran into her friend Sylvia just outside our apartment. Sylvia and Marilyn have been tight since college. She works at the same firm, though in a different department. She asked how I was doing and mentioned she'd heard Marilyn and I had hit a rough patch. I didn't go into detail, but then Sylvia brought up the certification exam. She said she was thinking about prepping for it too and asked if I thought Marilyn would be open to letting her join their study group with Evan. That threw me off. I asked what she meant by group, and she said, you know, the study sessions they've been doing. I've been wanting to tag along but didn't want to intrude. That's when I realized Sylvia had no idea that these sessions were just Marilyn and Evan alone, at his place, until 2 or 3 a.m. When I told her, she looked genuinely surprised. She said she'd assumed it was a team thing, and that's why she hadn't brought it up earlier. We ended up having a longer conversation after that, and I learned a few things that really shook me up. First, Sylvia and 2 other women from their office are also prepping for the same certification. Not one of them has been invited to join these sessions with Evan, even though Marilyn constantly says he's the only one who really knows the material well. Second, Sylvia said she actually asked Marilyn a few weeks ago if she wanted to start a study group. Marilyn turned her down and said she already had it covered. And third, according to Sylvia, there are plenty of senior co-workers who've passed this exam and would be happy to help. It's not like Evan's the only option. Sylvia was clearly concerned by what I told her. She said that if Marilyn's main goal was just to pass the exam, it would make way more sense to study in a group. That's usually more effective than doing it solo, especially late at night, with wine. After that talk, my gut feeling only got stronger. Something about this just doesn't add up. If Marilyn's truly just studying, why go out of her way to keep it private? Why not involve others who are also prepping for the same test? So when she got home tonight, I decided to bring it up. I told her I ran into Sylvia and mentioned that others were also studying for the exam. I gently suggested that maybe she could invite them to join her sessions with Evan. Marilyn didn't take it well. At all. She immediately got defensive and accused me of crossing a line by talking about our relationship with her friends. She said I was trying to mess up her study setup on purpose. When I pointed out that studying in a group might actually be better for her, more effective, she insisted that Evan's teaching style works specifically for her and that other people would just get in the way. I asked her straight up, if this is really about studying, why can't Sylvia or one of the others join in once in a while? Marilyn got heated and told me I was interrogating her. She said she didn't owe me an explanation about how she studies and that it was none of my business. She ended the conversation by saying she's still going to Evan's place tomorrow night, and if I have a problem with it, I need to figure out how I want to handle things. She's now sleeping in the guest room and hasn't spoken a word to me since. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Marilyn keeps saying all the right things, technically, but her actions don't match. The secrecy, the anger, the total unwillingness to compromise, none of that feels like something an innocent person would do. And now I'm actually considering what some of you mentioned in the comments earlier, just showing up at Evan's place the next time she's there. I don't want to be that guy who's paranoid and doesn't trust his girlfriend, but I'm honestly starting to feel like I'm being gaslit. What would you do if you were in my shoes? Update in the comments. Sylvia, hey, this is Sylvia. I stumbled across this post and just wanted to confirm that everything OP said about our conversation is accurate. I really am worried about Marilyn's behavior. It's not standard at all in our industry to study like this, especially not one-on-one, late at night, with wine involved. Several of us have been wondering why she won't study with others when we're all preparing for the same exam. The fact that she's keeping this separate from all her other work relationships is a serious red flag. You're not crazy. OP replies Sylvia. Holy crap, I can't believe you actually saw this and chimed in. Thank you for speaking up. I've honestly been questioning my sanity, and it means so much to know I'm not imagining all of this. Comment, dude, just show up at Evan's place the next time she says she's studying there. You'll know real fast whether it's a legit study session or something else. If they're working, you'll see books and notes. If they're not, well, then you'll have your answer. OP reply, yeah. I've been going back and forth on that. I really don't want to cross a line or come off as controlling, but at this point, I don't know what else to do. Final update, this is probably going to be the last time I post about this, and honestly, it's not the ending I was hoping for. But after the conversation with Sylvia, and Marilyn continuing to shut me out and act defensive, I realized I needed clarity. I couldn't keep living in this haze of doubt, second-guessing myself every night. I know a few of you said I should just go to Evan's place and see for myself. I didn't want to be that guy, paranoid, jealous, but then again, I already felt like I was in a relationship with zero trust left. Last night, Marilyn left around 7 p.m. for yet another study session. She kissed me goodbye like usual, but I could tell something was off. She seemed tense. After about an hour, I made up my mind. I drove to Evan's apartment with the excuse that I was bringing them coffee and snacks to help them power through. I knew where he lived. Marilyn had mentioned the building before, and I found his unit number on the directory. When I got to his door around 8:30, I could hear music playing inside, not quiet background stuff, but louder, like something from a romantic comedy. Not exactly the vibe of a focused study session. I knocked and waited. No answer for almost 3 minutes. Kinda strange if they were just at a table with laptops and flashcards. When Evan finally opened the door, he looked completely caught off guard. He was wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt, hair messy, face flushed. Oh, hey, he stammered. You must be Marilyn's boyfriend. We're just wrapping up. From where I stood, I could see into the living room, no notebooks, no binders, no laptop. Just a bottle of red wine on the coffee table and Netflix paused on the screen. I asked if I could come in for a minute. Evan looked like he was about to panic. Now's not a great time. Marilyn's in the bathroom. We were just finishing up. Then I heard her voice from inside the apartment. Who is it? It wasn't a voice you'd expect from someone mid-study session, it was casual, surprised, almost annoyed. I pushed past him. It was a small place, so it didn't take long to see everything. And there she was, Marilyn, stepping out of what was clearly Evan's bedroom, wearing nothing but his button-up shirt. Her hair was a mess, and the look on her face. I recognized it. It was that dazed, post-sex expression I'd seen many times before, only this time, it broke me. All three of us just froze. Her face shifted from confusion to horror in a split second. She opened her mouth. This isn't what it looks like, but come on. What else could it be? I pulled out my phone and hit record. So, this is what studying looks like? I asked. Don't you dare record this, she yelled, scrambling to grab something to cover herself, but she was too far away. Evan tried to block me. Dude, come on, he said. Don't be that guy. I laughed. I'm not that guy. You're the guy screwing my girlfriend while pretending it's a work session. I got maybe 30 seconds of footage before Marilyn grabbed a throw blanket and wrapped it around herself. You could clearly see her coming out of Evan's bedroom in his shirt, the wine on the table, no study materials anywhere. Get out, she shouted. You have no right to be here. No right? I said. I came here bringing snacks and coffee for my girlfriend and found her half naked in another man's apartment. But sure, I'm the problem. Evan, to his credit, looked like he wanted to melt into the floor. Look, man, I'm sorry. This got out of hand. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. Shut up, Evan, Marilyn snapped at him. I turned to her. How long has this been going on? It doesn't matter, she said. You shouldn't be here. You can't just barge into people's homes. How long? Evan answered quietly, about a month. Marilyn tried to save face. We need to talk. Not here. Come home with me, we'll talk like adults. No, I said. We're done talking. We're done, period. You can come get your stuff tomorrow while I'm at work. I walked out, her screaming behind me that I was making a huge mistake, that I was throwing everything away over nothing. When I got home, I just sat in my car, staring out the windshield, trying to breathe. I'd hoped truly that I was wrong. That I'd find them actually working. That I'd feel like a fool but still have a girlfriend I could trust. But what I got instead was the truth, and it hurt like hell. And then, I got angry. I did something that I won't say I'm proud of, but I also don't regret. Marilyn comes from a strict Catholic family. Her parents and siblings are very traditional, deeply involved in church life. They've always seen her as the perfect daughter. I sent the video to her parents and all 3 of her siblings. Along with it, I included a short message that Marilyn had been lying to me for weeks about study sessions with a coworker, and when I went to check on her, I found her like that with him. I told them I was heartbroken, and that they deserved to know the truth. Within an hour, my phone blew up. Her mom called sobbing, asking if the video was real. Her dad called next, furious, yelling at me for humiliating his daughter like that. Then her siblings started texting, calling. Finally, Marilyn called me, completely hysterical. "How could you do this to me?" she screamed. "You ruined my relationship with my family. My dad's talking about cutting me off financially. You destroyed your relationship with your family the second you started sleeping with Evan," I told her. "I just made sure they knew who they were really supporting. This is cruel. You're vindictive. You're trying to ruin my life." "No," I said. "You ruined our life when you lied to me for weeks. When you made me think I was paranoid. When you gaslit me every time I asked a normal question." She begged me to delete the video. Said she'd end things with Evan. Said we could go to counseling, fix things, start over. But here's the thing, even before I caught her cheating, our relationship was already breaking under the weight of lies. This morning, she came by to grab her stuff while I was at work. My neighbor texted me that she showed up with Evan and 2 other friends. They loaded a U-Haul, left the key on the kitchen counter, and she left a note. "I hope you're happy. You destroyed my family relationships and humiliated me in the worst way possible. What you did was worse than anything I did. I hope it was worth it." Honestly? Yeah. It was worth it. Sylvia texted me too. She said she was proud of me for standing up for myself, and that word had spread at Marilyn's job. Apparently Evan is married, which I didn't even know. His wife found out about the affair and contacted their company. So now it's workplace drama too. You cheat? You can't control the fallout. Edit. A lot of people are asking about Evan being married. Sylvia told me his wife lives in another city for work, so it wasn't public knowledge. But once the affair got out, she made sure the company knew. HR got involved, and, well, Evan's done. Edit 2. Some folks said I went too far by involving Marilyn's family. I hear you, but I want to explain why I did it. Her parents have been financially supporting her since she got this job. They've helped with rent, her car, even her student loans. They treated me like a son, welcomed me into their home, believed we were building a future. I felt like they deserved to know what was really going on. Comment, holy hell OP. I've followed your story since the first post, and while I didn't expect the nuclear option, I don't blame you. Marilyn yelling at you for embarrassing her while she's literally half naked in another man's bedroom is wild. My reply, yeah. I know sending that video was extreme. But after weeks of feeling like I was losing my mind, I needed people to understand the truth. Sylvia again, the fallout at work has been rough. Evan's in serious trouble with HR. Not just because of the affair, he was technically Marilyn's superior, and he lied about being some kind of certification expert. He's being let go. Marilyn requested a transfer. It's a mess. Comment, Sylvia, was Evan actually her mentor? Or was that just part of the story? Sylvia, nope. Total lie. He's not even certified. He hasn't taken the exam at all. That whole mentor narrative was pure fiction. Final OP comment, thanks to everyone who followed this wild ride and offered support. It's been about a week now since it all blew up, and honestly, I feel better than I have in months. The constant anxiety, the second guessing, it's gone. I'm sleeping again. I'm not walking on eggshells anymore. Sylvia told me Marilyn is staying with her sister for now. Things with her parents are still strained. Her dad apparently told her she needs to re-examine her moral compass before they'll speak to her like normal again. I'm not happy about her family drama. But I also don't regret my actions. Evan got fired yesterday. Between the cheating, the lies about the certification, and the fact that he was technically her supervisor, HR made a quick decision. His wife is filing for divorce. Thank you all for helping me trust myself. You probably saved me months, maybe years, of wasting my time in a relationship built on deception. I'm logging off Reddit for a while to focus on moving forward. I'll check in down the road. Peace out, and always trust your gut.